What we're going to do now is we're going to work on practicing more using our TI-30XS to find the mean, median, and standard deviation. We're also going to be able to find the mode, mid-range, and the range, but those usually are not the hard ones. It's usually the mean, median, and especially the standard deviation are the hardest ones to get. So we have our table here of countries, and we've seen this data before. And it's the daily oil production for countries in North America and South America for the year 2017. So we're just going to work on putting this data in the calculator. So when I'm always doing this, I hit my data key. I always like to do my data key again. Type 4, just clear out all the old data. Now we only have one set of data. There's no frequency here. So we're just going to be filling in these numbers in column 1. Okay, and it's always a good idea to double check your data. Make sure you entered the numbers correctly. And looks like we have. So now we can do second, get into our stat mode, one variable stats. Data is an L1. There's no frequency, so I'm going to arrow down to where it says 1. Make sure it's my cursor is flashing, hit enter, and then calculate. So the mean is on line 2. And let's just go ahead and round those off to the nearest whole number. Standard deviation, and for this textbook we're always going with line 3. Again, we'll round that off to the nearest whole number. And then for the median, get my up arrow, and it's line number 9. And let's just round that to nearest whole numbers. And these are on thousands of barrels a day. So the first 3 we're just grabbing directly from the calculator. The mean here is line 2. Standard deviation is line 3. And the median was line 9. Now in terms of the mode, when we look at this, there is none. So we're going to put none for mode. For the mid-range, we're going to add our lowest and highest value and divide by 2. And keep in mind, if you forget that, you have your formula here for the mid-range. Here's the mid-range. And here's the range. So my lowest data value here was Venezuela. Highest was the US. So we're going to add those together and divide by 2. Again, I'll round this off. So that'd be 8,887. And the range then is the highest value minus the lowest value. So we're just going to subtract those two. So let's go ahead and try another one. I actually did this one to a certain extent before, but let's go ahead and do it full throttle this time. So again, I'm going to take my calculator, clear my screen, and I'm going to do my data again, 4, clear everything out. And I'm going to put the numbers in here, 25, 34, 53, 61, 77, 52, 53, 45, 24, and 13. So I'm going to do my second data, one variable stats, data is L1, frequency is 1, so we're good to go. And here we got our mean, 43.7 students. Standard deviation, we're going to go with what the book uses now. The book is going to go with that 19.51. So even though when we did this before we went with line 4, which was the 18.5, we're now going to just follow the book, and so we're going to use line 3 here. And this was line 2. Hit my up arrow, my medium is 48.5. Okay, so if we can figure out the mode, well, we have 53 here occurring twice. Everything else is occurring once, so our mode is 53. And then our smallest data value is 13. Our largest is 77. So for the mid-range, I'm going to take 77 plus 13 divided by 2. That's 90 divided by 2, or 45. And then the range would be 77 minus 13, which would be 64 students. All right, let's turn the page and take a look at the next one. So this is the number of days students went to a Turing lab for a particular week. And now this is a frequencies issue. So this is my data on this side here. These are my frequencies. So what I'm going to do here, if I slide this over a little bit, try to get that out of the glare. I'm going to do my data key again, and just 4 to clear everything. And so I'm going to put my data here 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And now I'm going to put the number of students, 95, 135, 300, 165, 120, and 75. Okay, so now here's where we have to be careful, because when I go to my next screen, second, data, I've got my frequency in L2, so I can't leave it this way. What this will do, if I leave it in this form, it's just going to calculate the mean, median, and standard deviation from 0 through 5. And that's not what we want, because we have 95 students that attended no days, 135 one day, so on and so forth. So I'm going to arrow down here, and I've got to tell the calculator that my frequency is in L2. And now I can calculate. So my mean here would be 2.34. My standard deviation, let's round that up to 1.4. I'm just rounding them to the nearest two decimal places, because that's what they told us to do in the directions. Then I hit my up arrow, and my medium is 2. Now you might be asking, okay, are these students or days? Well, remember, my data here are the days. So this is in days. That's our units here. Okay, so let's look for mode. Nothing repeats, so our mode here would be none. And our largest data value is 300. I'm sorry. My bad. Let me try that again. I forgot we're doing frequency. My largest number of data values, or the largest number here is 300. We have 300 attending on 2 days. So that's going to be our mode. Our mid-range is we're going to take the largest data value plus the smallest and divide by 2. So if we look at our data, again, we got to look at the data. The largest data value is 5 days. The smallest one is 0. So the largest data value is 5. The smallest value is 0, and we're dividing by 2. And so that will give us 2.5 days. And for the range, we're going to do 5, the largest data value minus the smallest. So that'd be 5 days. So let's take a look at the next problem. And here we're going to do the same thing. This is our data. This is our frequency. Now keep in mind with this, if they give you a problem and they only ask for the range, you don't need to use your calculator. You can just do 5 minus 1. And that would be 4. Or if they just ask you for the mid-range, 5 plus 1 over 2, 6 over 2, which should be 3. Or the mode, which we have 27 of these 5s. So if they ask you for either the mode, mid-range, or range, there really isn't any using the calculator. You're just calculating those. Now if they're asking the mean, median, and standard deviation, then you probably want to go and use your calculator. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's get to our data. So again, our data is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to do my data. Data again, option 4. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit my right arrow to go to the next column. So I need to enter first and then right arrow over. I'm going to have 1, 0, 5, 14, and 27. We're going to do then second data, one variable stats, everything's lined up, calculate. So our mean here is 4.4. Standard deviation, again I'm just going to round that to 2 decimal places. That will be 0.85. And then hit my right arrow or up arrow to get to my median, which would be 5. Let's turn the page. And now we've gone full circle. You remember these problems? And when we calculate the average daily balance, we're just calculating the mean. So let's just kind of run through how we do these. We're going to start with our previous balance. You have a payment of $300 on July 7th, so let's take out $300. And on July 8th, there's a charge. Looks like it's $159.45. And then there's look like another charge on the 11th for video games. So that'd be 55, 13, 45. Then we have a cell phone charge. I'm sorry, we have groceries charge, excuse me. Skip that one, that was 121.41. And then finally, there was a cell phone charge of $352.64. And then remember, we had to calculate the number of days. So we take 7 minus 1 is 6. 8 minus 7 is 1. 11 minus 8 is 3. 17 minus 11 is 6. It's always the next one minus the previous. 25 minus 17, and that's 8. And remember, since even though July has 31 days, we always go to the 32nd day, the next day, because we're going to get into the next billing cycle, which would be August 1st. So, we're going to treat this like a frequency distribution. This is our data, and this is our frequency. The number of days acts as our frequency. So we're going to put that into our calculator. Again, I'm going to do my data key again, clear everything out. And just start entering the numbers into my calculator. And then I'm going to hit my right arrow again. In the next column we have 6, 1, 3, 6, 8, and 7. So just putting those numbers in our calculator. I'm going to do my second stat. Everything's in the right spot. So my X bar is what I'm looking for. That's my average daily balance. So it'd be $5,613.65. And we need to put dollar signs and all this stuff here too. So we're just doing that like we did the other problems. Now, let's take a look at the next page. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a few minutes. Go ahead and pause the video, take a few minutes, fill this out, and then put it on your calculator. Alright, so let's see how you did. So we've got these charges here. The first three are charges. Then we have a payment, and then another charge. So we go and we calculate the unpaid balance, add, to keep adding the charges, and then it goes down. When we make that payment 190, it goes down, and then we add a charge on the groceries here. For our months, our days, excuse me, we have 4 minus 1 is 3, 13 minus 4 is 9, 15 minus 13 is 2, 17 minus 15 is 2, 23 minus 17 is 6, and remember on the last one, we have to go up one day more than August, so we have to go to 32 minus 23 to get 9. We then have to put all that information into our calculator under data. And then we're going to do second stat, one variable stat, then calculate. So our average daily balance would be $6,682.81. And so it just kind of brings full circle with what we were doing with the credit cards from before.